Welcome back to another instalment of New Zealand's Bird of the Week, where in this video I will be talking about the sooty shearwater, common dark seabirds that inhabit much of coastal New Zealand. I hope you enjoy. As stated in the intro, sooty shearwaters are very common, being one of the most widely distributed seabirds in the world, with them breeding not just in New Zealand but also around Australia, Chile and the Falklands. They can be seen in massive flocks, tens of thousands strong, mainly around the southern South Island and Stewart Islands, where they congregate to feed together on crustaceans and various fish by flying into the water below and feeding on what they can, with some birds being known to dive to 60 metres to do so. Getting more into their appearance, they are pretty large birds, having lengths of about 44 centimetres and weighing anywhere from 650 through 950 grams. They have long and narrow dark wings, as well as short tails, which makes them very effective soarers as they fly above the ocean. Their breeding season from around September through May is particularly impressive, with them making trips of about 2,000 kilometres each way to forage in the polar front, whereby they gather food for their young. They form large colonies where both parents will look after their eggs and eventual chicks, breeding on many offshore islands with some small colonies persisting in remote areas of the South Island. Up to 21 million total birds are thought to inhabit the New Zealand region, and so are very apparent and easily discernible as to where they are at any given time. The nests they construct are lined with leaf litter and are often located at the end of a burrow, which are often a part of a wider burrow system in where several pairs may access theirs through a common entrance to get where they need to go. They lay a single white egg, which takes a good 53 through 56 days to hatch, with the chicks then fledging a good 80 through 100 days later. After their breeding season concludes, the colonies are left behind as the birds then migrate to the North Pacific Ocean, with birds often being able to live to over 20 years of age, given 92% of breeders survive from one year to the next, travelling thousands upon thousands of kilometres over their lifetime. They, along with some other seabirds, are also known as mussenbirds, as their young are often harvested by the hundreds to thousands at traditional sites around Stewart Island and elsewhere, and introduced mammals are also a threat to them, though much more severe, as they have been made locally extinct by them in many mainland areas where they were once very common. Deaths by fishery bycatch is also severe, with them being the seabird species most often seen killed in their lines. Another interesting thing concerning these birds is that they inspired Hitchcock's thriller, The Birds, with the story being inspired by an account published in 1961 by the Santa Cruz Sentinel, whereby thousands of crazed sooty shearwaters were sighted at North Monterey Bay in California, with them flying into various objects, dying on the streets, and also regurgitating fish. Hitchcock, who was living in the area at the time, became inspired by the account, going on to eventually make one of his most notable films. It turns out that after further examination of the stomach contents of these birds and others in the area, it was found that there were high levels of toxic algae in the region, being present in about 79% of the plankton population that the birds and other animals ate. The birds were therefore poisoned, which likely came down to leaky septic tanks that were installed in a rushed manner in the area, given that it was having a housing boom at the time. And with that, I thank you for watching this instalment of New Zealand's Bird of the Week. For next time, the next bird to be covered will be the broad-billed prion, the final bird that will be covered in the series, bar the kiwi, that will be covered at 100,000 subscribers. With that, I'll see you next time, whenever that may be.